Hey there, it's Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm going to be talking about the Praxis Elementary Education 5001, and I'm going to be working out of my study guide. This is a very popular test. So many states use it for certification, and I want to make sure you understand what's on the exam, and we're even going to go through some sample problems. Let's get started. First-time pass rates for Praxis exams is less than 50%. So if you were successful on some of the tests and not all, that's fantastic. This is a huge exam, so it's okay. And if you weren't successful at all, that's okay too. The odds are not in your favor when it comes to these certification exams. The pass rates are very low. These are hard exams. You've never been a teacher before. You don't know exactly what's on the exam. So that's why you got to keep trying, and it's okay. We've got resources to help you, and this video will help you today, but just keep going. It's all right. You will eventually pass. It's costly and all of that, but you will eventually pass. So many people want to just take practice tests over and over and over again. They failed the first time, so they take more practice tests. They fail the second time, and they take more practice tests. They email me and say, I need more practice tests. Practice tests are not going to solve your problem. If you are failing this test repeatedly, you need to understand what's on the exam and what each spec is about. So I recommend you go into that study companion and you look at each individual skill assessed, and that was everything listed underneath, and you really dig deep. You look in the study guide. My study guides have it broken up, and I'll show you in a minute digitally, have it broken up by specification. So each heading is a test spec basically in my books. But if you're still not getting it, you're going to have to do some Googling. You're going to have to go onto YouTube. You're going to have to find some things to reinforce those concepts, because just taking test prep, practice tests over and over again is not going to do it. All right. Practice tests are amazing. They help you understand where you are. They're great practice, but if you're missing the skills, you've got to fix that problem. All right. Now, very important that you use the book, and it doesn't matter if it's my book or somebody else's, in a strategic manner. Okay. So what I recommend is using one of the practice tests as a pre-test, meaning you just take it cold. You don't look at the correct answers. You just grade it and you figure out where you are. Get a raw score, okay? Take that raw score, divide by the number of total problems, and that will give you a percentage. If you're below a 75%, you're not ready to take the exam, all right? Now, once you take that practice test, don't look at the answers. Don't see what you got wrong. Just go in and study the book and all of the information in the book. And then when you're done, retake that same practice test. Because you haven't looked at the answers yet, you can reuse that practice test as a post-test. If you look at the answers and all of that and you evaluate what you did, you can't reuse it. So that's why I say take the first one totally cold, just grade it, and don't, really evaluate those answer explanations and things like that, okay? Then study, go back in and take the test again. Now look at your answers, see why you got something wrong, see why you got something right. Zero in on those particular concepts that you are struggling with. Go back into the book or back into the online course or whatever you're studying and reinforce those skills, and then take the second practice test. So my book has 2 practice tests at the end of every single subtest. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so here's my entire book for this particular exam. You can see it's pretty easy to navigate. And the table of contents, if you buy the digital book on our website, it's all linked up. So if I click, let's go to the practice test here, it'll take me right to the first practice test. So what I'm recommending is you take this first practice test completely cold, just grade it. I would even cover up, let me go to the answer explanations, cover up, this whole side of the particular answer explanations. Don't look at it. Just grade your test and then get a score, and then go back into, let me go back up here, go back into the study guide and study those foundational skills. Notice that I've got the main content category reading, and then I have foundational skills. And now you can see I'm in content category 2, writing, speaking, and listening. And then each of these subheadings are those specs. And so it fills in all the information in the specs. So when you are looking at the practice test, let me just go back to the practice test answer explanations here. You can see that we have the number, the number of the question, the correct answer, and then the category. Is it category 1, category 2, category 3, depending on what subtest you're taking. And so then you have the answer explanations there. So that's really, really important when you're studying. Of course, you take this first practice test as a pre-test, cold, don't look at the answer explanations. Then you go back in and you study the book, take practice test 1 again, see how you do. Now look at the answer explanations, which you will see here, of course. We just looked at those, very detailed. So pay attention, read them. Even if you got it correct, read why you got it correct, because you might have guessed properly. And you want to make sure you are guessing the right way because you understand what's going on. And then go back in, fix up any skills dangling out there that you don't know, and then go ahead and take practice test 2 as your post test for the entire thing. And you do that for each section of the test. And that'll help you understand and get better at this. We're not just taking the practice test over and over again. We want to make sure we understand why we're doing something wrong and why we're doing something right, because that's really important too. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some specific questions you'll see on the exam. These are taken straight from my practice test in my book, and I'm going to show you the answer explanations and all that. I'm only going to do 4 questions today, 1 from each subtest. So we're going to do the English and language arts one, we're going to do a mathematics, we're going to do a social studies, and we're going to do a science, just so you can see the types of questions on the exams. You'll notice that, yes, this is an elementary ed test, but some of these concepts you haven't seen in years, especially if you're a career changer and you haven't been in school for a while. And that's why this test is so hard. You think, why can't I pass an elementary ed test? Well, because it's hard. So let me show you. All right, so let's have a look at a reading and language arts question. This is going to be subtest 1 or 5002. You can see right away that this particular question is long. It has a really long question here, and then the answer choices are very long. Now, I always say work backwards, and I just recorded a video on that the other day, so I'll link it up so you can check that out. But what I would do is start with the answer choices first to get an understanding of what you're being asked to do, and also to pick out good and bad words. Remember those test specifications that I talked to you about, all of those skills. Those words in the specs are going to be in the correct answer choices on the test. So let's have a look. A, the teacher should have the student focus on spelling because spelling is phonics, and phonics is a necessary part of the comprehension process. Now, if I'm studying my foundational skills for reading, we know that phonics is part of the comprehension process, yes, but focusing on spelling isn't necessarily going to bring me to comprehension. I don't love A. I'm just going to put a little X by it. Doesn't mean it's incorrect. I'm just kind of eliminating it for my own brain. B, the teacher should have the student take a diagnostic test, okay, data, and then have the reading coach work with the student. Okay, right away, this is going to be a no for me. On this exam, you are not going to kind of farm out your duties to the reading coach, to a teaching assistant, anything like that. Anything that does that is the incorrect answer. Now, do we use the reading coach to help us? Of course we do. If the reading coach comes in and wants to help you, take the help. But on this test, you are the teacher, you are in charge of the student's progress and moving that student towards achievement. So B is out. C, the teacher should use a running record. Okay, that's when you tick how many words per minute a student reads, and record the miscues a student demonstrates during a 1-minute reading. Okay, this is pretty good. The only problem is we're not doing anything after we record the miscues. So what? You recorded the miscues. Don't you need to talk to the student about it? Don't you need to use that data to make a decision? C, I'm not in love with either, putting a little X there. D, the teacher should focus on fluency and automaticity strategies for this student because proper fluency and automaticity will reduce the cognitive demand needed for decoding, leaving more cognitive space for comprehension. All of those are good words. Cognitive development, using metacognition, like it. It's got all the buzzwords. I'm just going to circle D, make sure that that's my favorite right now. All right. Now I'm going to go to the question stem and see if I can just figure out more information there. Which of the following interventions should the teacher employ? Okay, can't do much with just the stem here. Let's go up to the actual question. A student is struggling during reading. The student often stops when encountering high frequency words. Okay, this is tough. We know how that is when students can't get through those high frequency words, which means words that happen all the time in reading. And look at this word here, automaticity. Don't we want students to be automatic with those high frequency words? So you can see that this automaticity is already related to that high frequency. Keep going. This interrupts the reading and makes it difficult for the student to understand the meaning in text. Yes, it does interrupt the reading, which puts a lot of cognitive demand on the student. You've all watched it. You're watching a kid read. He or she is stopping, sounding out, and it is like hard to even watch because you know they are just using up so much energy in their brain. D is going to be the best answer here because we want the student to get automatic with these high frequency words. That way the student's not thinking about those words and can move on to other parts of the test, thus increasing comprehension. Now, if you're a new teacher, this question is not easy. This question isn't easy for any person really, because a lot of these A, B, and C are still okay answers. This is where I hear a lot of people say, oh, there's so many right answers. Every answer could be used. Yes, that is true. However, there is only one correct answer, and D is the best answer choice because of what is in the answer choice, all those specifics, and the fact that it really aligns with what the student is struggling with. You could really use any of these strategies, but which one is going to be the best one? So keep that in mind. And of course, we have a very detailed answer explanation here. You can see I go into great detail in these because I want you to understand exactly what's going on, okay? All right, now let's have a look at a math question. Now, this is elementary, guys. Like, this is not easy. And if you haven't taken an algebra class in 30 years, which a lot of us haven't because we've been out of school for a while, you see this and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do here? So there are a couple things, there are a couple ways you can solve this problem. So I'm going to just rewrite it out here. We have if 2 over 5a plus 3 equals 11, what is the value of 3a minus 1? Well, what we have to do here is we have to find the value of a, and this has to do with the algebra portion of the math exam, okay? So we have 2 over 5a plus 3 equals 11. Let's deal with this first equation so that we can figure it out. Because we have this equal sign here, I can figure out what a is and then input it in here and figure out what 3a minus 1 is. Now, if we're using simple algebra, we want to isolate this a here. So we want to subtract 3, cancels out, subtract 3, 11 minus 3 is 8, bring everything down, 2 over 5a equals 8. Now, there are two things you can do. You can use your calculator to turn this 2 over 5 into a fraction. And if you do that, it's 0.40. What I do is, because I do everything by hand, it's just like habit, I guess, because I was taught by old-fashioned teachers who did everything by hand. What you can do is get rid of the fraction by multiplying by 5, which will get rid of the 5. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And in this case, I get 2a equals 8 times 5 is 40. Now I divide by 2, and a equals 20. Now I have to input that into here because you might get 20 and you're like, oh my God, 20 is not the answer. No, it's not the answer. It's not here in the answer choices because we're not done yet. We have to input this 20 here. So what is 3 times 20? 3 times 20 is 60 minus 1 is 59. The answer is C. And of course, I have a very detailed answer explanation. In this one, we change the fraction right here to a decimal by just using the calculator or just knowing that 5, basically what you're doing here is 5 into 2.0. When I divide that, that equals 0.40. But I did it the other way. There are several ways to do it, but we still come out with the same answer in the end. Again, not easy. People think elementary. It's not easy. You've got some major algebra there. All right, now let's have a look at a social studies problem on this test. So this comes from the 5004 portion of the exam. You're going to have world history, US history, geography, and econ. So this, I mean, look at Industrial Revolution. When was the last time you talked about that? Especially if you're a career changer. You haven't been talking about the Industrial Revolution for a while. But in this one, you can kind of use process of elimination, and that'll help you on this test as well. So we have, because this is short and I have these answer choices here that could all mean so many different things. Let's go ahead and read the question first. Which of the following is a characteristic of the Industrial Revolution? All right. A, people moved away from urban areas to rural and suburban areas. Well, no, that's out because it's actually the opposite. The Industrial Revolution happened in the cities. And so people moved from rural areas in the country into the cities for jobs. And so A is out because the opposite actually happened. B, immigrant workforce increased in factories. Well, look, I have this word factories here, and that's definitely synonymous with Industrial Revolution. I like B. I'm going to keep it. Let's discredit C and D. Government regulators provided protection for workers. Absolutely not. During the Industrial Revolution, kids were working. I mean, people were working crazy hours. There were no protections for people back then. We're going to cross that out. And D, environmental activists pushed big businesses towards conservation. No, the Industrial Revolution was like pollution spewing into the air. This was the onset of like big factories, things like that. You know, you might have had some environmental activists back then, but they weren't making much progress because what we wanted was the money, right? We still want that. And the Industrial Revolution provided that. And so the answer here is B, immigrant workforce increased in factories. And in fact, that's why a lot of people moved from other countries to the United States because of the Industrial Revolution. Okay, and then of course, I have the answer explanation here for you in the study guide. Let's go to the last question. This is a science question. This is an Earth space question. You'll notice that on the 5001, the content categories are nature of science, Earth, space, life science, and physical science. This particular one is Earth space. I can see right away, sun, solar system, sun. That's why reading the answer choices is always helpful first, because you kind of can put your mind now in Earth space. You're not thinking about cells. You're not thinking about machines. You're thinking about the planets and the sun and the moon and all of that. Okay, so we have revolution around the sun, tilt on its axis, position in the solar system, and distance away from the sun. We're going to have to read the question in order to pick the right answer choice. Let's start here. Mr. Lopez is teaching a unit on seasons. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you guys right now. This is a standard question on almost every Earth space test across grade levels and everything. Seasons equals tilt on the Earth's axis. The reason why we have seasons is because the Earth, I'm going to do my best, is tilted, and let's just make this the sun. When this part of the Earth is tilted towards the sun, this is going to be summer. Down here, it's winter, it's cold, it's dark, it's away from the sun. As the sun rotates, or as the Earth rotates around the sun, now this bottom area is tilted towards the sun, and this becomes warmer, becomes summer down in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere. So the tilt on the axis is what gives us seasons. Just remember that. It's one of those memorization things, but you will see a question like this on pretty much every science exam if you're taking a teacher certification exam. And again, I have detailed answer choice there. I tell you what number, the answer, and then the content category in which it is from. All right, so those are only a few questions from a very thick study guide here. Again, of course, I'm going to say I have the best study guide. We have over 600 five-star reviews for our study guide on Amazon, but you know, you can do this with any study guide. So if you already purchased one and you're like, I don't want to spend any more money, fine. Remember, you're going to look at the test specs first by Googling the test name and the word study companion. You're going to go straight to the ETS website, understand every skill that you are being asked to do or perform. Then you're going to go into your study guide. You are going to take the first practice test, score it, see how you do, look and see where you're low, just to kind of like, oh, this question was really hard for me, whatever. Do not look at the answers. Go back in, study, fix up those things that you were confused on, go back in, take practice test 1 again, get a score. Then go in and laser focus on those remaining skills you need to work on. fix those up, and then take practice test 2. I always recommend a 75% correct in order to be ready to take the exam. You do not need 75% correct on the test to pass. You really just need a high D to pass this test. 68, 69, that will get you a passing score. However, I would rather you have a cushion so that you are like, I got 75% correct. I got 80% correct. I'm ready for this test. I'm going to go in and take it. Now, remember, this is a big fat exam, 4 subtests, 4 hours long. It's a big one. Go easy on yourself. Take it one step at a time. Incremental study over long periods of time, 20 minutes a night, 30 minutes a night, not cramming 4 hours a day, 20 to 30 minutes a night. Little increments goes a long way. If you are interested in purchasing our study guides, you can do that at kathleenjasper.com. Let me take you over there really quick. This is the website. I have a new teacher survival guidebook. You can get that on Amazon. But if you go into study guides and you go to 5001, you will see I have all this here. And then I have a lot of questions. If you're interested in, some of the things that people ask, like that I get these questions all the time, I've answered them all right here. You can also see our reviews for this particular book, and you can get it on Amazon. Let me just take you there. And you can see we have over 611 ratings, and it's a lot of 5-star reviews. So it's helped a lot of people pass the exam. Also, I have an online course for this particular test. The online course comes with the digital study guide. So you do not have to buy both when you buy the course. This has hours of video, hours of extra practice. If you're struggling, I highly recommend the online course, and you can purchase the whole thing, or you can purchase it by individual subtest. You can do the same thing with the study guide. Let's say you've already passed, you only need social studies. Maybe that's all you need. You can just purchase the social studies portion, and that's just a reduced price because you're only getting a piece of the book there. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter. I send out information all the time. I'm working on new courses, working on all different types of content for you. Follow me on TikTok. I'm doing shorter videos there if you like short stuff. And, find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere trying to create content to help you pass your exams. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day.